you have ever wondered what the first step might be into changing your sex life, I have a solution for you. Throughout the month of June and into July, I am releasing 2 new videos each week focused on what I'm calling the sexual foundations for all bodies. This is foundational level knowledge, practice, and embodiment to help you understand who you are and who you can be as a sexual person. You can think of this as your first few coaching sessions with me, or some of the baseline education that you never got, or the first step on your journey to sexual transformation. The tools, skills, education, and practices that you'll get in this 10-part series is really some of the basic work that I do with so many of my people. And it's so important that I wanted to kind of capture it all into these masterclasses to help you really take that first step into answering some questions about, could sex be different? Or why does my body do that? Or why does my partner's body do that? Or how can I better understand what I like? Or how do I help heal this mismatch between me and my partner? Or how do I start to tell my lover what I want? So if you have ever asked questions like that about this kind of, how does my body work? Like, how do I find out more about who I am? How do I start to expand my sex and pleasure and my sex life? These are the workshops for you. So there are going to be 2 different master classes. One is the sexual foundations for people with a pussy, and the second one is sexual foundations for people with a penis. This is not because I'm trying to say, all women are a certain way and all men are a certain way, but that I understand that just because you have a pussy doesn't mean you identify as a woman, and if you have a penis, you might not identify as a man. And those of us that have those body parts have some real differences between how our erectile tissue functions and how we were raised, whether we were raised as girls and women or raised as boys and men. So I invite you to dive into both of these classes, whether that's for you or for you and a partner, or even just to understand kind of how somebody else's body works. There's so much information in all of them. So in the sexual foundations for people with a pussy, the workshops, there's 5 workshops in each masterclass. The first one is mapping pleasure and reclaiming desire, helping you understand, how do I learn to want sex more? How do I learn what I like? How do I better understand my body and how I relate to other people sexually? So some really important kind of foundational tools that I offer to individuals and couples to help them understand how they're wired in all these different ways. Workshop number 2 is organic arousal and erotic playfulness. Organic arousal is the term that I created to focus on the innate, intrinsic sensations inside of you that we so often ignore in service of speed, in service of performance, in service of somebody else's pleasure. Tuning into your organic arousal is such a deep part of understanding who you are sexually. The erotic playfulness is, as you might imagine, how do we integrate more play? And once we have this kind of foundational knowledge, how do we take that knowledge and start playing around? How do we fuck around and find out when it comes to toys and touch and people about what we really like? Number 3, and this will be in both workshops, is rewriting shame and owning your eroticism. Most of us are carrying deep-seated shame, stigma, and really unconscious stories about what sex is and what bodies are and what's possible. So we're going to talk about how to unwind some of that, how to get clear on when some of that stickiness might appear in your mind, heart, body, and sexuality, and some tools to help move through some of that. Workshop number 4 is sex, hormones, and aging with confidence. I'm a 45-year-old perimenopausal woman. I have lots of wisdom and practice in my own life about things that have worked for me. And whether you're 15 or 20 or 25 or 35, you need to know this because you need to know what's going to happen to your body so that you can we're not controlling it, it's nature, but so that you can understand what's happening in your body, make space for changes, learn acceptance, and know that your body is going to shift and change throughout your 20s, throughout your 30s, throughout your 40s, and beyond. And how do we own our sexuality in our 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond? I can't wait to find out myself, and I'll guide you into it as well. Workshop number 5 is pleasure practices for pussy owners. We are going to talk touch, we are going to talk toys, we are going to talk lube, we're going to talk erotic massage, we're going to talk all different types of orgasms. There is so much to explore here, and I'm so excited to guide you through it. In the sexual foundations for people with a penis, we are going to cover the same 5 workshop format. So the first one is erotic embodiment, sexual mastery. How do you own your sexuality in a way that is integrated, in a way that is present, in a way that is so deeply magnetic to the people you want to play with? Sexual mastery is not about owning anybody else, but it's about owning your own energy and learning how to work with your arousal and desire in really potent ways that will make you very desirable. Workshop number 2 for people with a penis is erotic presence and creative pleasure. So again, we're talking about how do we get creative with this stuff? So many of us masturbate in the same way, we have sex in the same way, we don't give ourselves a lot of space for creativity and play, and there is just as much space for that for people with penises as there are for people with pussies. So we're going to talk about how to mix it up, change up your scripts, and rewire who you can be as a lover. Workshop number 3, deconditioning sexual shame. So again, shame shows up differently in all of us, and based on anecdotal and research evidence, there are certain ways that boys and men are shamed and people with penises are shamed that is slightly different from how people who are raised as girls and women were shamed and what we have to deal with if we have a pussy. We're going to talk about unwinding body shame, penis shame, fears and anxiety around premature ejaculation. We'll talk about all of that. The 4th one for people with a penis is sex and aging. Just like people with pussies, we are going to go through changes as we age, and I want you to be prepared for erectile unpredictability, for performance anxiety, for your body not doing the things that you want it to do when you want to do it. There is so much to be gained as a lover as we age, and I invite you into this as a celebration, not as a way to scare you, but as I'm so excited to become the sexual master that I know that I can be. Workshop number 5 is, again, playful practices. So we're going to talk about ejaculation withhold. We're going to talk about different masturbation and erotic massage techniques. We're going to talk about anal play for people with penises and how incredibly pleasure-filled that can be, and so much more. So if you're not yet a member of Patreon, now is the time to join. Each week, starting next week, starting June 12 and June 13, I will be releasing one workshop for people with pussies and one workshop for people with penises, and so on throughout the month of June and July. If you're not yet a member, once these are all completed on Patreon, I will be offering it as a standalone single-priced option on my website. So if you're interested and you don't want to become a member, you can still have access to these probably mid-July. If you have any questions, I would love to hear your questions. If you have kind of foundational sex ed questions that you have always wondered about, you can send me an email, hello@andreabertoli.com, or drop your comments below. I will see you in June to start your sexual transformation journey. I'm so here for this, and I cannot wait to continue this conversation with you.